Okay. So the topic of today is about the yoga relationships. This is the topic you are looking for. Why? Because everyone needs to learn from our relationships. Because the biggest headache, headache or heartache, yeah, that we all have. So we cannot live alone. And when we express ourselves, sometimes we have problem. We repress ourselves, we have problem. We have problems in our most important relationships, like our family relationship. Sometimes we have problems with our husbands and wives and friends and co-workers. But some relationships are more temporary, like you work in an office and you have relationships with people you work with. But some relationships are more fundamental, you cannot change. You cannot change your mother, you cannot change your father, you cannot change your children. Husband and wife, maybe you can change. Some people change so many times and they're still not happy, not finding the ideal. So the question is here, and we try to cover maybe a little bit in this meeting, is how to find yourself in relationships. How to spiritualize your relationships. How to transform our negative emotions into selfless love. How to solve the problem of self and others, of the split between self and others. So these are the fundamental questions. Okay, so in relationships, let's think a little bit about the problem that is possible in relationships. Our needs are unmet. We want something come out of the relationship and then you feel frustrated. The needs are unmet. So we blame, etc., etc. We have conflicts with ourselves when we are in this relationship, with the other person also. So the conflict can happen. We have difficulties in communication. We cannot talk with each other. Sometimes it turns to violence in communication. We're supposed to have loving relationship, and yet we lack of the basic empathy and compassion. We have sometimes resentment and anger for a long time about our relationships. We might maybe divorce, but then we have a resentment from past relationship for a long time. Or we might not live with our father and mother, but we have resentment. And we pass on this resentment to our children. We have a problem of emotional swing between attraction and repulsion. We have basic conflict, like paradox. Sometimes we live a paradox. The paradox between losing yourself in love and wanting to be in control. So that's a problem, more or less the different problem that we have. So let's put the basic truth down, the fundamentals. Swami Sivananda says that love is the law of life. When we talk about relationships, we talk about love. And love, by definition, is oneness, unity. Love is yoga, in fact. Yoga means union. So this is the fundamental of life, which means life is love, God is one, God is love, and yet we suffer from separation, from being split. That's a fundamental question. So we have to come to the conclusion that all relationships are karmic. What that means? All relationships are karmic. That means our relationships are there for us to learn from our karmic lessons. Yeah. So it's not by accident that you have this particular relationship. Either you meet somebody you like or you meet somebody you don't like. It's not by accident. It is set up for you to learn something. So it is said that we have chosen these relationships. And you might argue that you have not chosen this particular father, this particular mother. You're born from them. How can you choose them? According to yoga, Vedanta philosophy, our soul chose. Our soul chose to evolve and grow through being born in a certain family conditions. So that's why all these lessons learned when you were young in your family are very fundamental. They are fundamental, very deep lessons. Because whatever you experience with your family when you were young tend to reproduce for the rest of your life. So the karma started when you are born. And this life is opportunities to progress in our karmic relationships. So everyone wants to love. Why? Because love is our essential nature. But selfless love is to be learned. That's why we say karmic relationship. Selfless love is to be learned. You have to learn to have selfless love. We have to transform our emotions into pure love. That's the point. So oftentimes we feel like, our problem is recurring. Oftentimes it's recurring in many different relationships. Why? Because when you experience something, the mind create an imprint. You have an imprint from these experiences in your mind. And this imprint has the tendency to be reproduced, to show up again. Why? Because you need to cleanse them out. So that's why they reproduce again. So every time you have a new opportunity to correct your course, to choose differently. Okay? So in yoga, we aim to stop the cycle of recurring negative emotional pattern of past relationships. It's a pattern. We develop a pattern since long time. That's why you talk about karmic relationship since a very long time, maybe from past life. So we have a certain way of behavior, certain way of thinking about ourselves. So it's become a pattern, emotional pattern, and then we carry it with us, and then we keep reproducing them. So that's why all this pain that you suffer from relationships are opportunities for us to develop awareness about yourself and about others. Okay. So anybody so far so good? Anybody want to ask the question? I mean, sharing your particular situation. Because I just general, because I meet many people, I hear many lessons, many stories. So I kind of summarize like that. When we have problems in relationships, how it manifested, right? It manifested that, this blame, this heartache, this running away, running after, the resentment, the anger for a long, long time, the lack of forgiveness for a long time. We spend so much energy throughout our life in relationships are supposed to be nurturing, and yet it takes a lot of our energy. In fact, people can be defined as their relationships. So, any sharing?
Just one question.
How do you change negative mental pattern once you recognize them? What is best remedy to calming likes and dislikes? Yeah, so I'm asking you to share first the problem. If people want to share, so that I'm not just talking theory, yeah. Then we can talk about remedy. You jump right away to remedy. So if you don't share about your particular situation, I can share from the stories that I heard. So it's not personal problems, because when you see the same problem reproducing in different people, then you start to see, oh, okay, so this is quite common. And the beginning of solving problems is always started there, started at the place where you start to see that it's not personalized. When you are in a situation, you always say, this particular person is my problem, my relationship with this person is a problem. But when you start to step back and you start to realize that it is actually the problem of many people, that you depersonalize the problem, then you understand the bigger picture about the problem. Okay? And this kind of meeting or satsanga is to do just that, is to see the bigger picture, to become more aware of the reason of things, and to become wise, to depersonalize. When you encounter a problem in relationships, oftentimes it's an emotional problem. It's emotional problem, but maybe your mind can interpret it as a kind of righteous kind of situation, but in fact it's manifest as an emotional problem. So emotional problem grasp us more, because it feels more personal. It feels like it takes a lot. It sucks out our joy. It becomes like a central. It takes the place of everything else. Yeah. Everything else, a relationship with other people might be working, but you have a relationship is not working, then it creates a big, huge thing that takes all the energy. Is it true what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why this kind of a satsang is good, because you start to see, oh, okay, I'm not alone. Many people have the same problem. So the question is about self and others. Self, myself, my own self, and others. That's called relationship. So you start to see the relationship with yourself. So a relationship with other people oftentimes show as relationship with yourself. That means what? That means if you improve your level of self-love, that means to some level you are not loving yourself. Or you have this fake self-love. What do you mean fake? That means it's not real. You love yourself based on your idea of who you are. But the idea of who you are is not who you are. That's a problem. I repeat again. You love yourself according to the idea of who you are. For example, you say, you know, I'm a very strong person. That's why I love myself. Or you say, I'm a very intelligent person. That's why I love myself. Or you say, I'm a very capable person, successful person, you know, very competent. That's why I love myself. So you always have some idea about yourself. And that's the reason why you love yourself. But the idea of yourself is not yourself. The idea of yourself is your ego self. Is something that you come in this life with and you have perfected yourself, a certain skill, certain way, certain talents. We call your karma. When you come into this life and you develop a certain skill, certain talent, certain habits out of your different circumstances you find yourself in, that is called your karma. So this trait of character that develop through these situations in life is not yourself, it's just your karma. So you love yourself out of this trait of character that you have developed. And from there you have relationship with other people. You have problem. That's called karmic relationship. So the question here is the problem with your own self. Do you really love yourself? Do you really love your true self? Or you love this image of yourself? Or you love that karmic self, that skilled, talented, habitual self? Yeah. So that's why it says karmic relationship, because you love that self, and that self is in connection with somebody, and that self is not really your true self. So therefore, when you are in a relationship with somebody, that self or that ego self will be confronted. And it's very painful because you know, because you want to have love. You want to have that sweetness of love. You want to have love. And you are sincere. But at the same time, you encounter into this, it's like sometimes it's like it's a, you know, you want so much not to have problem, and yet you are thinking the relationship is become more and more complicated. But you didn't realize that you are actually working out the fundamental idea about self-love. In this karmic relationship that is ongoing, you have to question yourself a lot. So who am I? Who am I not? Okay, I can let go of this because it's not true. It's just an idea. So you grow in that relationship. You reinvent yourself. And the relationship might grow with it. That would be great. But sometimes you reinvent yourself and then you lose somebody on the way. So karmic relationship is about relationship with yourself, so relationship with love itself that you are learning through your outer relationships. So you can see, but if you are able to love yourself more, your true self become more and more real, then automatically you will improve also the relationship with others. If you hate yourself, you hate other people. If you're angry with yourself, you'll be angry with other people. If you're disconnected from yourself, then you also will be disconnected with other people. So that's how it works. So to solve the problem, you have to solve it from yourself. So different people write something. I always express my feelings outwardly and immediately it is adversely affecting my life. Yeah, so that is called emotional impulse. That means you are very emotional and you express it out. You are very sensitive and emotional. So you have to learn to bring in the self-control, regulations of emotions and self-control. And that is a practice of yoga. You need to slow down. You need to look within. You need to start from yourself and not start from your emotions. Control the impulse, the emotional impulse. That is the ABC of the job of controlling your emotions. By not learning to shift, to slow down, to pause, to shift, and not to express everything that you feel. And then it creates a lot of problems and harm and difficulties. What is the solution when we recognize disconnect of self-love? When we love ourselves based on an idea of ourselves, yeah, that's what I said. It is very traumatic when that idea is challenged. Exactly. Thank you. Yes. We feel hurt because our ego self is something that we love. We think it is ourselves. So when this idea is being challenged, Yeah. Then we suffer and we fight back. Let's say you feel that yourself is intelligent and somebody come and say you are stupid. It's very, it's attacking you directly. Or you think that you are very sweet, and then people say that you are rude. And you think that you are very capable, you're doing a lot of things. And then, people say, you're doing nothing. You're useless. So if you are wise and you recognize that something is that you have gone on the wrong path, if this kind of instance of conflict, makes you wake up and you say, oh my God, I have allowed my false idea of self to take over my life. And that you'll be able to turn around and thank the other person for helping you to wake up. If you are able to do that, it's extraordinary, but most of the time people cannot. Because they believe so much on this idea, this false idea of self. Because they did not have reflection, they did not have yoga practice, they did not have meditation practice, they never do self-inquiry. Therefore, they did not know that there is another higher self. So they are very attached to this idea of themselves, and when it is challenged, it's like the whole world coming down. But your question say, okay, when you recognize the disconnection of self-love, see, if you be able to do that, if you can recognize that disconnection with self-love, it's you have the solution. Because you recognize that the problem comes from within, come from your own disconnection with yourself, disconnection with your self-love. You love an idea, a shadow, a projection of yourself. You don't love yourself. And that is quite a discovery. Ah, something happened here. Okay. We are disconnected for a moment. Yeah. So how do we take these steps toward our true self? That's a question. And there's different questions. How do we change our negative mental patterns once we recognize them? What is the best remedy for calming likes and dislikes? When we talk about likes and dislikes, we talk about emotions. So basically the question is, what is the best remedy to change emotions into love? That's the question. What is the way how to transform emotions into love? What is the way how to change our negative mental patterns, that is emotional, into love? Yeah. So that's basically many people say the same thing. How to transform these patterns, emotional patterns, into pure love. especially when you are in conflict. How do we take the steps towards our true self? How do we take the steps towards starting to love our true self? And not being so offended and unhappy when somebody else come clash with you, in order for you to wake up from your false self and for you to recognize your true self. So that is all the questions. And then I would go through the remedies. But we need to understand the question quite clearly before we can go through the remedy. Because if not, I can say things, but it would not going to, you would not feel the necessity to practice a different way. So it has to start first with this realization that actually what I think to be myself is not myself, is something else. Sometimes I put a lot of emphasis on my intellect. I love my intellect, and then it is challenged. Or I love my emotions, and it is challenged. I love my actions. I identify with my actions, and it can be challenged. So why do we have problems in relationships? The main idea that one need to understand is that we are all the time looking for the true self. It's a universal idea. Everyone is in that journey to look for the true self. Everyone is in that journey to look for true love. Everyone is searching. Why? Because it is the essential question. Everyone is looking for true love. Everyone is looking for true relationship. Everyone is wanting to be loved 100% and all the time. Everyone is looking to be free. Everyone is wanting the relationships to enhance yourself instead of becoming something that is challenging to yourself. So you are aware or not, you are a seeker after your own self. You are a spiritual seeker, either you are aware or not. But when you look externally at another person, you are defining yourself through the differences you perceive as existing between yourself and them. So this is how it twisted. You are in fact in search for yourself, but then you keep projecting, you keep seeing to find yourself through seeing other people, through the attraction and the likes and the dislikes, or the attraction and the repulsion toward other people. That's how you try to find yourself. Let's say you like something about somebody, and you say, oh, that is me. I recognize myself because I'm like that. or you dislike somebody, trait or character or something, then you say, oh yeah, I know, I am not like that. Yeah. So it's like you look for yourself in the mirror of other people's mind and emotions. And it's very complicated. I repeat again, when you look externally at another person, because you look externally at yourself, when you look externally at yourself, you only see your character, your ego self. Then you look externally at another person. Then at that time, you're defining yourself through the differences that you perceive as existing between yourself and them. So you're all the time comparing yourself with others to find yourself. That's why you like somebody and you dislike somebody. If you like somebody because you want to be like them, or you find something in yourself that it look like them, or you dislike somebody also because you dislike something within yourself, because you are seeking for yourself as well. So the relationships oftentimes are based on these projections. The relationships are based on this external appearance. So you imagine you are this external appearance, this ego self, and then you are in relationship with this external appearance that you see and attracted, or outside of yourself. So this external appearance, talking of this external appearance, so this relationship of external appearance fight with each other. Attraction, repulsion, fight with each other. So it's you see? Because that is the truth, because you don't have a relationship, you don't have attraction and repulsion, likes and dislikes. Because you have the likes and dislikes, so you have relationship that become karmic. Okay? Because you define yourself, you are attached to your emotions. We call it likes and dislikes. That's why we attract other people, or you dislike other people. And that's how you have relationships. Okay? So that is meant to create difficulties sooner or later. So anything that you believe yourself to be will be challenged. And it's heartache, because you believe yourself to be, and when it is challenged, it's a big heartache. But if you are wise, and this is what we are talking about, if we are wise, then we realize that this is an opportunity. I'm sorry, inside your heart, you say, I'm sorry. I recognize now my attachment to certain idea of myself at that time create this problem, in this clash, or this problem in this relationship. So thank to the other person, instead of blaming them, I thank you in my heart for showing to me my false belief about myself. No. Are you saying, she's asked, are you saying that we should try to replace the likes and the dislikes with acceptance? No. It's a little bit more complicated. Of course, you have to accept other people as they are, but I go a little bit further than that. That the moment that you realize that the likes and the dislikes, the attraction and repulsion and the emotional swing of your own mind create this problem, then we need to learn more seriously to control the likes and dislikes of the mind, to not identify with them. And there's many yoga methods, yeah, to channel this emotional energy so that we can have a better relationship with ourselves, and it will resolve the fundamental of the problem that comes from relationships with other people through our emotional mind. That means, in other words, what I'm saying is you have to, manage relationships as they are, accepting your emotions, accepting other people, characteristics as they are, but go further than that. Try to go to the bottom of the situation, like somebody asked earlier, how to control the likes and the dislikes. You see? How to be free from our emotional swing. So the emotions come from the lower mind. So our low mind is our instinctive animal nature. It has our instinct, and it has our survival instinct and reproductive instinct, and our emotions. Anger, greed, hatred, jealousy, envy, fear. These are part of our lower lust. These are part of our lower mind. Our basic instinct, our low mind. So simply answering, how do you get out of this low mind dominance? Activate the higher mind, elevate the low mind, purify the low mind. So that's the answer, yogic answer. Activate the higher mind, so then you function out the higher mind, and the low mind will die itself out. It would not be operating because you are not using it. It's like you go on a higher gear, so you don't use a low gear. It's there, it's there, it is your, it is there, but you don't use it because you use a higher mind. Renounce it. Renounce that way of functioning, that the lower mind. Yeah, kick it before it kicks you. That means renounce it. before it can create problem to you. So try to pull it, transform it, pull it up, bring it to the light, open the new gear, function as a different person. And there are many yoga techniques so that you can put yourself in that higher gear and stay there. And don't allow yourself to fall down into the habitual pattern, the convenient pattern, the animal nature, the gross nature, the seemingly strong nature, but it's gross. It's not you. Refine nature. Refine your nature. Functioning out of your higher self, possible. Not your lower self, because your low self, it's easy to function out of lower self because it's your past, it's your habit, it's your instinct. But that's no longer you. You have to renounce it. No longer you. You are a different person now. You have the capacity to be a different person. 5 more minutes. I just started. I didn't finish. God. 5 more minutes. You know, I talked too much about the problem. I didn't have time to talk about the remedy. So I tried to jump to the remedy. I just described the problem, my God. And takes all the time. Okay. So we go to the remedy now. Yeah. So number 1, cease to identify yourself with your ego self, with your low mind, with your habitual idea of yourself. This selfish self or this ego self leads to the conditional love. And the conditional love is not going to be, that we're not going to make you happy. So try to develop this habit to function out of your higher self that is sitting within your heart. Don't walk around with the idea of yourself that is your ego self. The moment you say something to your mind, I am this and that, cancel it. No, I am not this and that. No. Don't confirm yourself in the ego self, which this is a tendency that we have. We want to confirm ourselves all the time in this trait of character of ourselves that we think is describing ourselves, but it's not. So the moment your mind goes there, you have to be able to withdraw, go back. So that's the number 1 practice. So the number 2 practice is selfless service. Yeah, whatever that you got, offer it up. In the offering of yourself through the selfless service called karma yoga, you eventually it purifies your mind and you find your true self. I mean, doing your duty and at the same time learning to see the oneness. Offer yourself up. So that's the key, number 2. Give yourself to others because you have some talents that you have tendency to identify with. So offer this up. Give it away for free to other people as service. So this challenge of yourself would not going to be something that would strangle you, that would make you lose your true sense of self, because you're offering up. If you're really offering up, then you'll be free from it. So that's the number 2. Number 3 is you have to learn, and this is learning to transform emotions to pure love. You have to learn to purify this low mind and understand that emotions are not love. It looks like love, but it's not love. And I just don't have time, but I'll just name a few, and there is a, maybe we can have a chance to talk about this another time. Yeah, emotions, for example, anger, fear, attachment. Attachment is not love. Hatred, desires, passion, that's not love. Envy, jealousy, greed, lust, these are not love. So you have to learn to purify this into pure love. And these whole other techniques that we can apply. Okay, so that's number 3. And the number 3 is a lot of work, and we can take one topic at a time and we can deal with it. And the number 4, and this is a big deal, is cultivate self-love. So you don't have self-love, therefore you love the false idea of yourself. So now you need to cultivate self-love. You need to become a spiritual seeker. You need to start seriously your spiritual search. You need to start to do self-inquiry. You need to turn within. Take the time to turn within. Take a break out of your life and your idea of yourself so you can turn within and you can find yourself. So that one aspect of it, develop self-love, but at the same time also develop the love of God, called devotion practices. Because eventually you understand that the self, big S, self, the true self, and God, big G, something you think that is external to yourself, is one. So you have to be on that serious journey to find yourself. One is called the journey of self-inquiry, and one is called the journey of Bhakti Yoga, seeing the divine self in the divine mother, the divine father, the divine child. The journey of Bhakti Yoga, or the yoga of devotion, has many aspects that you can apply. It's very practical. I can go through a few quickly, but we can talk about that another time. So they say there is 9 practices. You need to start first, yeah, to listen. It's nice, yeah, very easy. That's the number 1. If you want to develop the true love of yourself and of others, then you need to, number 1, learn to listen. Be honest in what you say about yourself. Listen to also yourself. The number 2, kirtanam. Learn to appreciate the good qualities of others, as well as learn to appreciate your own quality. So when was last time that you praised somebody for their good quality? Or if you see their good quality, you keep quiet, you disregard, but you try to see only their negative qualities and you express yourself. You see how we do wrong? We completely do reverse. We need to see the good qualities in others and forgive the negative qualities in others. We call kirtanam, praising, singing praise of the divine. Number 3, remember that whoever that you meet is the manifestation of the divine. Hold the people that you love in your heart in the prayerful mood. That means, how do you do this when you are in conflict in relationship? I love, I hate, I love and hate. How do you turn it into divine love, into a prayer? And feel the sacredness in this relationship. I'm so appreciative that God manifests in my life as yourself. See the sublime in the relationship. Not only the people that you like, but the people that you dislike as well. See the divine in the relationship, in everybody you meet. Padasevanam. Padasevanam is service with humility. Learn to serve everyone, whether you like them or not. This will open your heart. Not only serve the people that you like, that's easy, but serve the people that you don't like the same way. Actually, you need to make it a priority. The priority is to serve and love the people that you don't like, so that you can destroy out of your own mind this idea that these likes and dislikes are tolerable. They're not tolerable. They imprison you. They make you unhappy. So the moment you dislike something, go and serve that, love that. And when you love something, you attract to something, stay away. That's the way how you destroy this tendency of your mind. Number 5, Archanam, worship. So offer your time and presence. Give to other people, giving to other people, beautiful gift, as if you are offering it to the Supreme. So instead of giving something to somebody, you know, you feel within yourself that I am offering it to God. Instead of feeling I'm giving this to you because I like you or I dislike you. Switching, we call sublimation or switching into a different way. Number 6, Vandanam. Learn to give respect. Prostrations means learn to give respect. It's very important to people you encounter, no matter who they are. You know how our mind is. You meet with somebody, the person look poor, the person look homeless, then you have that, you know, that feeling that you are better than them, and then you despise them, and you judge them, and so on. So you need to work on that. You need to work on that by giving respect to whoever it is that you meet. Dasyam. Cultivate the feeling to be a servant. That means what? Develop the attitude of self-sacrifice in relationship. You sacrifice of your time, you sacrifice of your comfort for the other person, even though you don't like them. So this will make you really go to the core of the problem of the ego. Sakyam, cultivate the feeling of friendship. Learn to open your heart equally to all. being friendly. Yeah, without ulterior motive. Usually you can become friend of somebody only if you have some kind of ulterior motive to get something out of that relationship. But here you have to practice that you are friendly, really, truly, sincerely, honestly, you are friendly to everyone. And the highest and most difficult is Atmanivedanam. Atmanivedanam is complete self-surrender. So what that means is that you learn to accept all things happening to you with equanimity, that means calmness, and overcome. You have to overcome your own expectation or judgment about anything done by yourself or others. This is very extremely difficult. That's why it's number 9. If you can accept everything with equanimity, with calmness, and overcome your own expectation, because it all come from your own idea, your expectation, overcome your own expectation or judgment about anything done by yourself or by others. I mean, you accept yourself unconditionally and you accept other people unconditionally. You don't have expectation and judgment. When you already went through all these other steps, then you see the divine in front of you. You see yourself in front of you. Then at that time, it's very easy to accept. The condition, yeah, the liking, the disliking, all these come from that mind. But when you come to the point where the 9th step, when you become completely self-surrender, then at that time you have no condition. Because everything is a self, everything is a supreme. You are free from your mind, from your low mind, from your likes, your dislikes, your conditioning. You are free. Okay? So that's enough? Okay, time out 10 minutes. So, well, another time we can talk about the conversion of a lower mind or the emotions into higher mind, you know, or the turning of the emotions into devotion, or the purify, or the path of purification of the emotions, so it can turn into love. This is another time, but this time, that's all I can give in the time that we have. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to me. Yeah, love you all. That you are there, you are listening. You know, if you are in Vietnam, it's very late. If you are in America, I don't know, it's very early. Very late, very early, and you are there. You know, it's very nice. So thank you very much. So we say a little prayer for your peace of mind. Oh.